All right, here we are, day 2. Starting the day with some movement, breathing, waking up of the organs, waking up of the mind. Let's find our neutral stance, our feet hip width, toes forward. Bending the knees, sinking the tail, lifting the crown of the head, relaxing the arms, opening the elbows and fingers. We will first wake up the brain, the body, the blood flow, moving any stagnation from the night's sleep. Patting with cupped hands on the head, gently. Turning the head side to side. We'll move down to loose fist, percussing the chest. Area over the heart, over the lungs, over the lymph nodes. Getting that fluid moving down over the rib margins, top of the liver, the stomach, the esophagus, waking up the digestive organs. Lymph nodes under the arms, on the collarbone. Everything's been still and resting and restoring, and now we need it to start circulating. Lymph nodes in the thigh crease. In the kidney area, loose fists, very gently. Well, not too gently, it's not that delicate, but just don't pound on your kidneys. The low back area, all the muscles there that tend to get tight, the sacrum, the SI joints, the back of the pelvis there, and then down the back of the leg. We spend a little extra time on the legs because the legs get tightened up as we age. We stop using them, stretching them, get circulatory problems in the legs. So we walk up the front of the legs to the low belly, the center of gravity. Back around to the sides of the hips. And down again. As we do this, we start to empty our lungs, fill them, thinking of the belly and the waist, filling and puffing out. I want to start to refresh the air in the lungs, the stale air from the night's sleep and shallow breathing. We'll use our hands as a helper here. Our 3-part breath, lower, middle, upper. We practice moving the muscles in each area, filling each area. Lower, belly and back, in and out. The solar plexus, the place between the hands, our second spot, right at the top of the ribs where they meet on the midline. We puff out and shrink it back. And then the chest, the shoulders, the upper body, filling the top of the lungs. Expanding and emptying. Do a few tries on each one, a few practices, trying to isolate the areas. And then we're going to connect them. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Filling from the bottom up. The low belly, the solar plexus, the chest fill, and then the chest, solar plexus, and belly empty. Trying to move the diaphragm fully. Stretch every part of the lungs. Three times or so. Bottom to top, top to bottom. And then let's start attending to the spine. We want strong legs here. My knees are actually turning a little too much. We want to be anchored down through the feet and the knees and let the pelvis turn. That's a little better. Yeah. Still, you'll see my legs rotating too much. They should stay a little more stable. I'll be practicing that in the days to come. Arms are loose, no effort. The spine, from the base of the spine up through the upper back, is turning, rotating, waking up. Imagine every little level, walking up from the bottom, has a little rotation in it. This helps to loosen the arms, take the tension out of the arms. Let them be free, easy weight. The head can turn with the body to encourage rotation or stay still to encourage the neck to turn. Now our lung exercise. We're not just waving our arms in front of us here. We're opening and closing the pivot of the chest and back, upper back. So there's a hinge, an imaginary hinge in the middle of our chest where our sternum is, and we're opening that hinge and closing it. So we're stretching open the front of the lungs. When we exhale, we close, opening the upper back. And the fingers are reaching out. The arms are reaching out. The arms are not tense, but they're not limp. We're stretching all of the tissue from the front of the chest out through the thumb and palm, all of these tissues that affect the lung. And now we will start our back lengthening exercises. And starting to move the ribs, free up the ribs and the shoulder blades. A lot of this entails moving the side of the body. I mean by that, the side of the ribs up into the shoulder. People with shoulder problems, neck problems, back problems, the side of the ribs is very stuck. So here our fingers are interlaced and we reach the palms up towards the ceiling, trying to draw the shoulder blades down while lifting the arms up. And then here trying to move the ribs side to side, not the arms. The arms will just move because the ribs move. And we'll get to practice these movements every day for the next 100 days, so they will change. You'll feel and look different in how you do them. Here, reaching the palms down, trying to touch the floor on either side of the feet. Again, this is stretching the side of the ribs and the back. Now we will turn a foot out, fingers interlaced, stepping one foot forward in a diagonal, reaching the side of the ribs, all the way down through the front of that back leg's hip. And we'll step back and we'll turn the other way, stepping the other leg out, reaching from the armpit down through the ribs, the front of the thigh. Don't overthink this. Make sure your feet are wide, your base is wide, and stretch from that back foot all the way up through that top hand. Trying to make the step out and in smooth and controlled, working on the balance. Let's go ahead and widen the feet wider than our normal stance. Hands on the kidney area, circling the hips around. Make sure you're going as far to the sides as you are forward and back. As far forward as you are back. Imagine a circle from above. Imagine you're tracing a circle like a hula hoop that's floating around your waist. And you want to trace the whole hula hoop. Don't skip part of it or flatten it. You'll feel the thigh muscles, you'll feel the back, some of the hip muscles. Now we put the hands on the sides of the hips, a smaller circle here. Rotating the pelvis now versus circling the hips. A few times each way. Again, these movements will take time to learn. All right. Here we are going side to side. We're going to start to warm the leg muscles up by training the legs to press out from a bent position and stretching the whole spine, side of the back with each movement. So just sit down on one side, stretch the body that way, and press back up. We're wanting to make the legs and feet a very strong anchor and make limber all the muscles around the thighs, around the hips and back. This can be, your feet can be wider or narrower as you're able. Always be safe. Now here we're going to start to go to one side and lift back from the hips up through the head. Now the hands gather under our chin. I want to start to move the spine in the sideways direction. So what I mean here is, our hands go one way where our bent leg is, our head looks the other way. So our hands go out to one side, our head looks the other way. You will feel a stretch across your shoulders and neck as the head looks the opposite way the hands go. Stretches the back, the upper back. And now we're going to be moving the spine sideways. So we start from this extended position, the hands reaching over the head, the hand and foot are moving far apart, the hands join back together, and the neck begins the movement, sort of like a fish or a snake, curling around to the other side. The hands come together and just sit the hips down, pressing the palms together, 3 big breaths. Strengthen the legs here, building some endurance. Now we'll stretch the back of the legs. The back foot turns out at 45. The front foot steps forward, stays straight. We hinge at the hips. The hands are behind the back. We want to keep the back relatively straight. Don't curl the back down. Just bending at the hips. Pulling the toes of the front foot up. And here we'll begin to circle the knees. This is extremely good for the ankles, the knees, and the hips, and the back. So keep looking forward. Make sure the face is pointing forward. It doesn't matter how low you go. The hands are just gathering the knees together, keeping the knees together as we circle around one way and then the other. Standing back in our neutral position, we shake the body. Bend and straighten the knees to vibrate and shake the body. This is extremely good for moving trapped blood and lymphatic fluid in our tissues back into circulation. It's said to keep the body strong, muscles, and the immune system. And then we'll go right into our standing for the day. This will become our most important position. For now, we just want to think about practicing our basic standing. So our feet are hip width, our knees are bent, our tailbone is sinking. By that I mean the low back is relaxing downwards, not arching back. The head's lifting and the hands float up to chest height. The eyes look off at the horizon. and we breathe. Everything is round in the arms, the armpits, the elbows, the hands, the fingers. We want the weight of the arms to be held up by the back and the hips and the legs. That may not mean much right now, but over time you'll feel what that means. And it means to end tension in the arms and let the back and legs do the work. Feet come together. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands stack on the belly. And we'll just circle around the abdomen a few times along the track, the course of the intestines. Feeling the warmth of those hands, wake up the belly, wake up the digestive organs. And this is day 2.